Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we are on Confessions. Our first post is by Billy Club X. Cop pulled me over and I called 911 and lied to get out of going to jail. When I was 19, I was running late to work in my tiny POS economy car, and on fumes of gas I didn't come to a complete stop on a right turn, lights behind me, so I pull over. I know I've barely got any gas at all and was almost to a gas station, hence why I rolled through the stop a little, trying not to have the car die. At the time, around 1995, a new digital phone had come out called VoiceTeam, now T-Mobile, and their whole big thing was the phones were digital and not cellular. They were the first phones with caller ID, and one of the big things the salesman had said over and over was since it was digital, the signal couldn't be triangulated or traced. Not that I cared, but it stuck in my mind. Well, as I give the cop my license, registration, and insurance card, I got an idea. I knew if I was late to work, I was going to lose my job. They were super strict there. So I get an idea, and right after I hand the papers to the cop, and he's walking back to his cruiser, I called 911 and tell the operator I just saw a guy with what looked like a shotgun walk into a 7-Eleven that was about 2 blocks away. I confirmed the address, then I hung up. About 30 seconds later, the cops comes sprinting to my car and hands me all my stuff and rushed says, "Come to a complete stop next time," then peels off to the direction of the store, pushed my car to the gas station that I'd almost made it to, and felt pretty pleased with my ingenuity. I was an idiot, and I confess. Edit. Wow, this blew up. I forgot to mention I would have gotten arrested, booked and released, because I was driving with a suspended license for unpaid traffic tickets and I had a bench warrant for it. Because I'm an idiot, so it wouldn't have been just a few minutes late to work. The job was a physical high turn over one that didn't tolerate much. Our next post is by Piskaka. I run a fake restaurant on a delivery app. I registered a company, bought all the takeaway boxes from Amazon, signed up for a few delivery apps, made a few social media accounts, and printed leaflets that I drop in mailboxes. I resell microwave meals. On some meals, I add something to make them look better, like cheese. So far, it's at around £200 a day in revenue. Nobody suspects a thing. Soon someone will come for hygiene inspection, but I'll pass that check without any problems. It's not illegal to operate out of your own kitchen. Should I feel bad? I feel kind of proud to be fair and free as a bird from the 9-to-5 life. Our next post is by AI Bundy. I stole over $20,000 in a very creative way in the 90s. I worked at a fast food chain in the 90s when I was in high school. When I worked there, they were in the process of phasing out denominational gift certificates. $5, $10, and $25. The way it worked was if you spent more than half of the certificate, they gave you the cash back. So if you ordered $5.50 worth of food and gave them one of the $10 gift cards, they gave you the $4.50 back in cash. My manager was in charge of destroying all the existing certificates as we transitioned to the more traditional credit card-looking gift cards. So my manager said he shredded the certificates like he was supposed to, but one night when I was closing, I found 2 boxes of the gift cards tucked deep in the dry storage room. They were filled with the certificates that were supposed to be shredded, so I scooped them up, brought them out to the dumpster in trash bags, and threw them away. After we closed, I came back and recovered the back, and brought the certificates home. I counted them. There were $1,000 $25, $1,000 $10, and $505 certificates. None of them had expiration dates. Total haul was $40,000 in fast food certificates. My manager never said a word. He couldn't. He had reported them destroyed weeks earlier. Over the next 3 years, my girlfriend and I toured every location in our state, and the next 4 states, ordering food and getting the change. We never kept track on a spreadsheet or anything, but we got good at knowing what menu items were just about half. After the first year, we started saving the change in a shoebox and let it build up. I bought my first car for $7,800 cash from the change, and for some reason a kiddie cone was $1.05. If you gave them a $5 cert, they gave you $3.95 back. We threw away a lot of kiddie cones. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Here are the answers to some of the FAQs. 1. We could hit 10 to 12 stores in a day if we drove around for 5 to 6 hours. Both of us would use a gift cert. It was not that labor-intensive. 2. The only cameras in the store were at the cash registers and takeout window. 3. The manager has no clue who took them, or at least never treated me differently. 4. Each gift certificate had a generic PLU on them. EI, all the $25 were PLU number 756. 5. When we stopped selling the certificates, we were told to keep honoring them because they were prepaid. They were not coupons. 6. One can only eat so many ice cream cones. Our next post is by Kasamaherm. I slept with my daughter's ex-boyfriend. He got me pregnant, and I had an abortion. They got back together and got married. This was back in, let me think, maybe 1997. I was 38, and my daughter was 18, and she was dating Harry, who was 24. I was an alcoholic and dabbled in other drugs. I was not a good person, let alone mother. Not like I was abusive to my daughter or anything, but I was generally inattentive and cared more about my alcohol and drugs than her, especially in her teen years. I am 14 years sober now. I disapproved of my daughter dating Harry, but I never told her why. He would flirt with me, constantly, and the age difference also creeped me out. Also, he was an alcoholic and drug user, just like me. She broke up with him over his alcoholism. Soon after she moved away, not too far, but regardless, she didn't live with me anymore. Harry kept calling me and asking if we wanted to get drinks. I turned him down, but then one day he said he had a bunch of coke and I couldn't resist. He came over, we did the coke, and we ended up passionately touching. He was a very good-looking guy. He looked a lot like that ridiculous 80s Justin Bieber picture that was on the front page today. That is actually what made me think about him. For the next few months, maybe like 3 to 4 months, he would sometimes come over, and we would passionately touch and do, and get drunk together. Any addict knows what that is like to have an addict buddy in that way. Then I got pregnant. I knew it was by him. I had passionately touched without a condom a few times stupidly. I never told him I was pregnant, and I went and got the abortion, and kept it a secret. Anyways, I stopped seeing him after that. It was too weird. I also got sober for like 4 months before relapsing. Fast forward 2 years and my daughter contacts me and tells me that she got back with Harry and that he is fully sober. I was mortified, honestly. He was gonna tell her that we slept together and she's going to hate me for life. They came over one day and said hi, and when my daughter was gone, Harry told me that there is no reason to tell her about what happened. I agreed. It's been 16 years of marriage on their part. They have a kid together. Harry got cancer, then beat it. I got sober. That's basically it. I don't see them very often. They live in Texas, and I live on the East Coast. But whenever I do, there is always that tension between me and Harry. It's literally the first thing that comes to either of our minds, I can just tell. Not like tension, like, why did we have to do that? What is wrong with us? Kind of tension. I think about this often, especially when I see my grandson. I always think that could have been my son if things had gone differently, but wow, what a disaster that would have been if I decided to keep that child. Next up, posted by my SX Circa V, found out my dead best friend was in love with my wife. I'm writing this as a confession because I don't know where else to speak about this, and I don't want my kids finding this out on my main account. My friend died a few months back due to heart problems. He was taking care of himself, so it was a shock to everyone, especially his wife who was with him at their house when he died. Due to this, she decided to move somewhere else, and because she and her daughter were still distraught, she asked me to pack up his stuff. He had some boxes in his basement, and after a while I started feeling nostalgic and decided to look into them. I found pictures of us from when we were kids all the way to before we got married. That was enough to make me feel bad, and I just got back to taping them up. But one of the boxes seemed to be in much better condition, so I decided to check it in case it was something important. To my surprise, I found out pictures of him and my wife from when we used to hang out together, as well as more recent pictures from family reunions, the most recent being from my wife's birthday party. Alongside the pictures there were letters that he never sent her. The first one dated 2 months before I met her. The last one was also the same date of her birthday party. There was one that stood out the most, was one from after I started dating her. He wrote that his time had passed, and since my happiness was as important as his own, he would watch over us. I'll keep his box safe since it isn't my secret to reveal. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.